is to present the business possibilities with Europe. And let me introduce myself. My name is Istvan Pal. I'm 47 years old and the proud father of 3 children. My daughter is turning 18 on next month, and I have 2 sons, aged 15 and 11. And I'm so proud of them. They ordered some fishing stuff from America and not an Xbox or PS5 or anything else. That's not an easy job to be done nowadays. So they go out too much for too much fun with computers. But my son, both, they love fishing. And that's what I'm doing for 40 years already. And what I'm doing beside my family life, I'm the CEO of Energofish, a company located in Hungary. We are a small company. Our total turnover, it's about $10 million. We have a staff of 150 guys and girls, and I'm really proud of being with the company from 1996 and being CEO from 2003. And I have more than 10 colleagues of mine. We work together for 25 years. So we are really devoted on this business, and I love my staff like my family, and we even kept more time together. So what you should know about Energofish, we are in Central Eastern Europe, and we deliver to about 1,500 tackle shops around our area. And what I will try to present here, it's how the European structure is built. But beside my position in the company, I'm a member of the board of directors. This is my 4th year in the EFTTA. And I was working quite hard to get our company size and our area represented on the EFTTA. And here we are, and we would like to continue the hard work which EFTTA is doing. So when we will have possible questions at the end, we have here our CEO who can reply those questions related of EFTTA even better than I can do. So what is EFTTA? Let's start with this one. So EFTTA is a non-profit organization. It was established in London in 1981, and it has the clear purpose to support the European sport fishing tackle sector, including every industry player, manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, importers, and exporters. And its goal is to promote and protect the sport fishing activities. And as I said, it was established in London in 1981, and recently, after the Brexit and the COVID, it was moved the headquarters to Brussels in Belgium. Okay, what EFTTA is doing, it's lobbying, that's the main task, and it's really important to do that activity since those who create the laws don't too often know the details which affect the anglers and the tackle industry. So it's continuous urge and lobby for sport fishing benefits recognition, and its duty is to support the trade with valuable source of news information to the members. And we are organizing events within the European Parliament on sport fishing legislation and topic, and we have our lobbyists working for more than 20 years, and they have a high knowledge about all the things which are running in Brussels. So, totalizing, in Europe, we speak about tackle trade over 2 billion. I just learned that that's 10 billion in America. So we are 5 times smaller in the point of view of tackle trade turnover. What EFTTA is doing is promoting and protecting the tackle trade interest and emphasize sport fishing importance. Why I should say that a result of a really long work, and our CEO succeeded to include the recreational angling into the legislation wording there in Brussels. That's a really important point since recreational angling was not recognized as a individual entity, and now it's start to be. It's a start of something. So that's what EFTTA is doing. And while my duty is here to present the business possibilities between United States and Europe, but by starting this, I would like to have an approach about the size in a geographical and population point of view. So you have here in America 330 million, and we have 575 million. This is not the European Union only, it's with the European countries all together. And you have a 52.4 million anglers, and we count with 29.4 in our continent. And that means that we have almost double as population and almost half as anglers, so there is a possibility to enlarge. What I learned recently here, and I just asked for a seminar yesterday, the activity which you do for the yachts is really amazing, and I see that more and more young people are coming back to the angling, and that's really important. EFTTA is urging this as well in Europe. So this is in the population and area point of view, and if we approach and focus now in Europe only, the total population of the countries, 36 countries included here. You see the white part is Belarus. It's just skipped from the European countries recently, and it's not really keeping that direction. And we have Ukraine included in Europe, and we have this whole area with a population of 575 million and with 29.4 million anglers. I will be back with this slide later on because my goal here is to present the diversity, not only culturally and geographically, which is quite diverse in Europe. Also for angling, we have very different fishing methods. And if we cut into two basic categories, we have 7.4 million sea anglers and 22 million freshwater anglers in Europe. It's important to know that what I learned here in America, that you have very accurate data. We are working and we are doing our best to have reliable information in Europe, but there is no common legislation with obligations, so every country do as he wants, and we collect the data with hard efforts. And I will come back with this slide, and I will try to present now how diverse the fishing methods are in Europe. So, if we take a look to the fishing styles, the number one fishing style we just classified is the carp and feeder, which is including mainly carp fishing, but more kind of fish. I will come one by one with each method and the main species there and the details of the fishing technique, fishing style. So carp and feeder is one group. There is saltwater fishing. You are really professional here in America. We don't need to teach that. We need to learn from you. The number 3 group, it's also something extremely advanced here, but it's very popular in Europe as well, spinning and bait casting. And we have one group which covers more methods. I will tell you more details in a couple of minutes. This is general and coarse, how we group it. And of course remains the fly fishing as the 5th big group of fishing styles and techniques. Now I'm trying to present one by one what it means. Then I will try geographically to present which area of Europe, which style of fishing is popular. So carp and feeder. It's carp fishing, it's practiced in the whole year. The main targeted fish is carp, but we have different non-predatory species over here with these techniques. What is common on those that we have using ground baits, pellets, boilies for feeding. That might sound strange for Americans, but it's very popular in Europe. We feed them and we keep them in one place, and some fishing tours last even 7 days or 14 days with no bite. Then the big carp is coming and the angler is happy. So its feeder is a bit different. So the rods are longer and more sensible, and there are more species. The key species which are included into these category methods are, of course, the carp, which goes from 6 to 50 pounds. We have the bream, which is really popular, especially in the UK and in Belgium and in all over Europe, but Western Europe maybe more. We have the grass carp, which is also a huge fish, goes up to 50 pounds or even more. We have the barbel. This is the fish I love the most. It's living in the rivers, and it's an amazing one. We have the silver carp or Chinese carp, which is growing huge, but quite difficult to fish for. Some feeder methods arrive to be able to catch it. And we have the tench. This is just a small variety of the fish species which are targeted on the carp and feeder category. So I go one by one. Saltwater fishing, this is really familiar for you, and we make two groups here, one from the coast, one from the boat, and strong durable equipment is needed. Same lures like you are using here, big hook, massive lines, and some species. Just to present the variety, we have the bluefish, the redfish, dorado, tuna, Pacific halibut, and a lot of others. That's spinning and bait casting. That's something we can learn from you, and we are practicing, and it's growing. And this is a really important slide of the market, which is continuously advancing. And predatory fish, it's what we target here. Hard lures, soft lures, method lures, mainly braided line. I would say no, not a big difference with the methods which you use here in America. Beside the bass, we have different species. Mainly, our favorite is the pike, which goes much larger or much bigger than it grows here in America. Oh, we don't have the muskie. You have the muskie here, especially in the northern part, as far as I know. We have the thunder. The thunder it's one of the, here is that the catch and release technique is not that popular, and it's difficult to release the thunder. It is possible. It's a very tasty fish, so many of them they catch for harvest. We have the perch. I think Olivier could show you much beautiful picture about the perch. My duty is just to make a general view about the species and the diversity of the fishing styles in Europe. We have the asp, and the target for spinning and bait casting is the catfish. Catfish will come back with the other method as well. In this big group, where is general and coarse, we include more techniques, and this is really different with what you are doing here in the States. And it covers the bolognese fishing, pole fishing, match fishing, and catfish fishing. And it's really different equipment needed here. There was a group which covers quite a lot. I will try to centralize it. The bolognese, it comes from Bologna. It's a big city in Italy, and it's a river fishing. They use 5 to 8 meter long poles, and they stay in the river with hip waders or with chest waders, with small reels, with thin main line, and they use float. I grow up while this fishing style is very close to me, and it's just you stay in a river, stay in a river, cast with your float, then you wait to come down, then you cast again. Sometimes you can keep it even for some 5 to 10 minutes, the float in one place. Light floats, barbel, nase, and chub are the most popular for this. A lot of other whitefish categories are included. Pole fishing, we have Chips and Fish Federation in Europe. They are organizing big competitions for many years, and for pole fishing, the rods are 9 to 16 meter long. They use many top sets, and to carry on to start the tournament, they need an hour at least to establish themselves with the seed box and with all the accessories over there. Match fishing, it's also a part of the coarse fishing. It's 13 to 14, or 12 to 14 feet, 3.6 to 4.2 meter long rods, casting above the head with big floats to distances from 20 to 50 feet. I hope I'm good on this. So no, 50 to 150. I have a problem with the metric system. I will come back with this. And we have the catfish, which was included into this category. And we use as the target of the biggest freshwater fish. It grows up over 100 kilo. That means 220 pounds, as far as I know. Yeah, it's 220 pounds. And you had seen the space also in the list of the spinning and bait casting technique. Well, we have the worm insect, and we fish for it from the boat or even from the bank. And one of my favorites, I think I was aged 8 when the mole cricket, that's a quite a big insect, something like 5 to 7 centimeter. And I was in the back garden of my grandparents, and I was staying nights and nights to have a catfish, and I had one, and that love remained even today. I think in the last 5 years I did not catch any catfish, but that's it when you go deep in the business. Fly fishing, it's a very similar method what you are doing here in America. Nymphing, throwing streamers, floating dry flies. And it's considered the elite of the fishing styles all over Europe. And they practice it from both kayaks or belly boats or even from the bank. And freshwater and saltwater both have fly fishing. But the target fish over here is the trout, rainbow trout, brown trout. We have the grayling, we have the pike, we have the salmon, and a lot of other species. So my goal is here to present the diversity of the angling styles, the fishing methods which we practice in Europe. And this all, it's pretty much different compared with the part of the globe where you are. And back to this slide, when we present the whole number of 575 million citizens with 29.4 million anglers, I will try to mix now up and show which part of Europe, which method is more popular. So we divided into this presentation 36 countries. I cannot enumerate one by one. Central Eastern Europe are the post-Soviet influenced countries. I was born on that part in Romania. Then my family moved 32 years ago to Hungary, and I got married there. I finished my university there, and I came back in 1996 to start a business in Romania. Then I moved back to Hungary and got married. So this is the area I feel most familiar with. We have a population of, I start with north at first, then I will tell you how much the population is in Central Eastern Europe. So Northern Europe is the biggest part, and its population-wise it's just 27 million, but we're supposed to have 5.2 million anglers over there, and there is a ratio close to 50-50 for the sea anglers and freshwater anglers. And the most popular methods here in Northern Europe are saltwater fishing, spinning and bait casting, and fly fishing. If we go to the next category, United Kingdom is separately a big market with a population of 65 million, with 4.2 million anglers. And we are counting with 1 million sea anglers and 3.1 million freshwater anglers. Most popular methods are carpet feeder, based on the categories I just enumerated recently. Saltwater fishing and all-round and course is really popular in the UK. Western Europe, economically the strongest part of Europe, covering a population of nearby 200 million, 193 million, with 10.5 million anglers. And it's divided into 2.1 million anglers of sea fishing, and for freshwater, 8.4 million. So the most popular methods in this area, it's considered to be carp and feeder in the first place, saltwater in the second, spinning and bait casting on the third. Now is my homeland. We include Ukraine here, Central Eastern Europe. All these countries till 1989 were under direct Soviet control, like Ukraine or Moldavia over there, or with a strong influence. So my country was an exception. I grew up in Romania. They did not make such a close relation with the Soviets, but neither with any other country. We were really isolated, and I had a very happy childhood, but that wasn't the easiest part of the way. So we were staying the whole weekend without electricity in the house, no heating, no gas. So I hope that those times are not coming back. So what the number of the population is 158.3, and we have a 5.8 million anglers here. It's the sea fishing, it's really not popular in this area. We have some in Poland, and we have a little bit in Romania and in Bulgaria, but mainly it's freshwater. And it's carp and feeder on the first place, spinning and bait casting in the second, all-round and coarse considered to be the third in the list in this area. Southern Europe with a population of 130 million, 3.8 million anglers, 1.4 they go for the sea fishing, and 2.4 they go for freshwater, and most popular it's saltwater fishing, spinning and bait casting, and carp and feeder. And that's all about the methods. I would try to present about the business side, and I consider really important to understand how the structure of fishing tackle sales is structured in Europe nowadays. So we have estimated a certain number of 14,000 tackle shops in Europe, and it goes with 1,000 in the northern part, 2,000 in the UK. We're counting with 6,000 in the Western Europe, 2,000 in the Southern Europe, and 3,000 in the Central Eastern Europe. What is more interesting here, the largest shops are considered to be in the Northern Europe area with 2,500 square feet, and the smallest one are in my area where we really have a lot of really small family-owned shops, and the average size is somewhere about 600 square feet, 50 square meter. Okay, about the tackle shops and why I try to present all this and to how we can deliver to the tackle shops, and here comes the business part of my presentation, which I consider really important, and there are a lot of fresh developments on the logistics. So we have an advanced logistics center. Arrows goes from my country, but that's only because a lot of logistic companies are located here, but we have also in Holland and in France, everywhere. But just for your reference, even the farthest point in 2-3 business days is easily reached by road transportation, and the parcel is packed in the warehouse, then goes to the shop for the next or the second, or in 2, maximum 3 days it is delivered to the tackle shop. This is for the annual purchase, so usually the tackle shops place their order in advance and they got a big delivery by the end of the year or the beginning of the next year. Then they fulfill their stocks with smaller parcels whenever they need to place an order to the wholesaler or distributor they are working with. I'm just back to the metric system. It creates a lot of headache for me, and I suppose also for you. When we deal with American, we always have to translate what a cubic meter and a cubic feet means. So we include 35 cubic feet in 1 cubic meter, and metric system in kilos, it says an average parcel size delivered to a tackle shop is 8.5 kilo, and it has 18 pounds. And as the lengths, we have 25 by 35 by 90 centimeters, which means 10 inch by 14 inch by 35 inch. I'm always in trouble with the metric system, and here is a picture to show that I run 100 kilometers in February, and that's only 62 miles. And I have my plan to run 100 miles in October, and then I plan to make the tour of the largest freshwater lake in Europe, which is 150 miles for next year. My wife says I'm crazy. I think it's good to enjoy sports, and I used to be 270 pounds and smoking cigarettes and taking a lot of beer. Then I changed my lifestyle about 6 years ago, and I run like crazy. So this is 100 kilometers, just 62 miles. And back to the average parcel, the logistics centers are more and more advanced, and the logistics centers are able to deliver quickly the orders to the tackle shops. One of the main ideas I came here to you as with American company, you can come to Europe, easily establish a subsidiary, even without employee, to make a company in Europe, make the stocking over there, and everything from your office in America can be managed to arrive next day to a tackle shop in Europe. There is already robotized sorting in some warehouses, and EFTTA is able to put you in contact with different companies which can offer this service. So anybody interested on coming over to the European market and sell to the tackle shops, advertise its brand, can make the stocking there with a company who is paid based on how many containers they unload, how many parcels they prepared, how many pallets they store for how long. So it's easy to calculate, you can make a business plan, and the investment will return with a fast delivery and already custom cleared. I don't need to make the customs clearance 2 times by bringing it to the US, then shipping it to Europe. So, about manufacturing, this is the second business idea which I would like to highlight during my presentation here. We have strong manufacturing facilities in Europe, and what we see in the last 20, 30 years, the manufacturing is moving over, and I think that we arrived at the bottom, and we have to consider about starting again, considering about manufacturers in Europe as well. So in our database at EFTTA, we have 525 manufacturers, and the estimation is to be 2,000 potential manufacturers who can work together with American companies by their own molds or by different molds, not only plastic injection. A lot of product categories were simply forgotten, and the manufacturing in Europe, it's just shrinking and shrinking from 3 decades till today. So I'm here to encourage you guys to think over about the manufacturing facilities in Europe. And one of the second ideas which I think it makes sense to talk about is how an American company can make a joint venture with a European company, or how the business between our continents, between our areas, became much stronger. So back to the point to what I represent in EFTTA board, the small and medium companies, and what my presentation is about. So stock exchange market is very far from us, but not that far the merger and acquisition market. And the structure of this market, it's America announced a total number of merger and acquisition in different categories. I would like to jump over the high technology, financial, healthcare, industrial, media, and entertainment. We are included into the other category, but only in America, only last year, there were 7,400 M&A transactions in this other category, with total value over 900 million. The same number in Europe looks pretty similar. If you see, the gray slice is even bigger, and we have 11,249 transactions announced for merger and acquisition in Europe, with a total turnover of 96.7. I don't know how many of them are in the fishing tackle industry, but I would say not a lot. The second business idea I bring here, beside the fact that any American company can easily establish a contract with a logistic company in Europe and ship their stocks to next day delivery to a tackle shop, there is a wide possibility of cooperation between the companies, between American and European companies. And here is the volume of this business, and I try to reflect on the country selection. United Kingdom takes about 25% of the business. Germany, France, Sweden, Italy, and the other countries takes the rest of the business. That was the total merger and acquisition volume with Europe. There is quite a strong business on this, and I think what EFTTA can support, if somebody is interested to invest on something, we can connect with those who can be interested on selling something or making a joint venture with an American company. So, and here is the strongest point of my presentation. It's a kind of wake-up message, which I think nowadays it's getting more and more interesting. And here is the container movements between Asia and America is 23.8 million TEU container units. On the same time, they have 15.9 million containers moving to Europe. And take a look at that, only 4.6 million units moves from America to Europe, and only 1.7 million from Europe to America. So it's time to wake up and observe that we became dependent, and that's too much headache for all of us. And we have to reconsider about the manufacturing facilities in Europe and making more business between America and Europe. That's my duty to present here. And I think I'm going to China for over 20 years, and I have brilliant friends there, and it's a lovely country. But what happened in the last 20 years, or maybe even 30 years, the manufacturing moved almost totally over there. And my duty is to wake up a little bit, and from the total of 143 million, it's only 1.7 which moves from Europe to America, and only 4.6 which moves from America to Europe. And if we would put the GDPs over here, we will observe that something's wrong with these numbers. So how the business can be done in Europe, and being an EFTTA member, I would make a small advertising of EFTEX, which is a similar, much smaller, but similar trade show like ICAST. Is the only trade show in Europe. It was 3 years past due to the COVID. But what you can obtain here, meet hundreds of manufacturers, wholesalers, retailers, find new products, sourcing new suppliers, and meet personally all industry members. What EFTEX is doing, it started 40 years ago by EFTTA, and just the last 38 editions were done, and last 3 were just cancelled due to the circumstances around the world. And what we can do, it's inviting you for EFTEX show in Budapest next year, by middle of June, so it's 11 months from here to go. And what we have till this happens, based on the variety, thank you, of the methods, we just launched the first digital best new product showcase. So I will launch some leaflets over there on the table, and you can read more details about. This leaflet is made for presenting the first digital best new product showcase, where the brand had the possibility to enter and to present for the retailers and consumers in Europe. And it's going to be, and it starts in August and it ends in October. And that's a good entry for the next year EFTEX, so you can test the market, how interested they are in the products you are offering. And that's a good opportunity, in my opinion. There will be an independent jury who will classify the products on different categories. We have different entries, and we have a green booster. We are quite proud of that. So the points you will get from the jury for your product, they can be applied, the green booster on that, depending on how the packaging is, how environment friendly the product itself is, which kind of materials you are using on developing and producing them. And with a green booster, a product can get more points from the points which were received from the jury. What we promise here, whoever enters with the brand and with the products will be delivered to the mailboxes of thousands of retailers, 10,000, 15,000, and also to the end users. We are going to work very strong with Angling International and Tackle Trade World. And from August to October, we will make a big exposure for the products. Then in October, we will close the first digital best new product showcase in EFTEX history. Hope you will join with us, and thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you all so much for that, and thank you to Istvan for that great presentation. We have time for a couple of questions, so does anyone in the audience have a question? Oh, here we go.
Hello, my name is Gianluca. I'm from Poland. I would like to ask you, what's the shipping cost from Europe or maybe better from Poland to US?
Thank you, Gianluca, for this easy question. So which city in Poland, which city? So coast to coast, as far as I know, the container cost should be somewhere around $8,000 nowadays. So that's for, let's say, from Gdansk to New York, I think. That should be roughly, but that's the sea charge only. Then you have the railway charge, you have the other customs clearance charge. This is something which we can help as EFTTA if you have such questions. And that's the service we offer. If somebody has such a question, you can place it. I think I never shipped a container from Poland to America, to be honest with you, but that's what I know.
Awesome. Any other questions? I believe it was China to Poland, is that correct?
Yeah, more or less on the lead time, there are more advantages than on the transportation cost. So roughly, as my knowledge on the transportation between Asia and America and Europe and America, the sea shipping charges are pretty similar. So let's say 7,000 or 8,000 just for this part, and depend from port to port. Why I think the advantage of Europe is that it's much faster on production. It has the facilities to be made. So I think just step by step, the infrastructure in China is much more advanced than it is in Europe because it shrinks too much. But while it's faster, the lead time between China and America is longer than between Europe and America. So that's for sure true.
All right, do we have any more questions? Going once, twice? One more.
Why should American people buy in Europe and not in China?
Gianluca, you have two brilliant questions. Thank you very much for that. So I think that what all my presentation was about is just to think over what we are doing. So it's how can you keep equilibrated the business or the life you are living. So by making a diversity. So if everything is focused only in one direction, that's a too high dependence. And I think that we have technology in Europe, we have manufacturing in Europe, and we have labor cost, which is, okay, that's higher than in some part of Asia, but it's more advanced and the service can be even better. So I think it makes sense for Americans to do business with Europe. That was all my presentation about.